Recruiting talent strategy number 3 is using the right words in the right way, because it is what you say and how you say it. It is both the words that you use and how you use the words. And there's power in asking a question. And there's power in asking this question. This question that you see on your screen right now is the question that I've been asking for many years. When I started doing this about 14 years ago, which came out of a pathetically bad day of prospecting, I began going out into the marketplace, and you know, I was quite frustrated with you know, working leads at the time. I spent 11 years of my life building my business almost exclusively working leads, and I was just kind of done with all this crap that I got. Sorry, but that's the only word I can use, just stuff, people that responded to advertisements. And I was like, dude, really? You're responding to my advertisement, you're telling me you want to make money, and you can't even put a dime together to get started in the business, and you're telling me you're skeptical, and but whatever the deal is. And it's just like, my goodness, there's got to be a better way. And so I started to look for other options and look at other avenues to recruit people, and I started to recruit up. And the question that I ultimately came up with that yielded me, and it took me about 6 years. The question you see on your screen right now, it took me 6 years. 6 years to develop that question. How many words are in that question? I'm not going to count, but do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing in the real estate profession? I don't know, however you can count the words if you want. 6 years. No, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not the dullest one either, but what I did do is I started asking. I started to see what worked. Well, that one worked sometimes. This question didn't work sometimes, and I got to the point where now that's the question that I ask 100% of the time. I never change it. And if you decide, if all this stuff that I'm sharing with you makes sense, you're like, my goodness, this Falcone guy's kind of nuts, but what he's saying is making sense to me. I want to do this. Whatever you do, don't you dare reinvent the question. Well, I think I want to reinvent the question, make it in my own words. No, you don't. I've had people that have tried. I've had students of mine and have fallen flat on their face. Well, I just want to make it my own. I've taken years developing that question. It works. So if I'm driving down the house, I'm going to the grocery store because I got to go get some fruit and some vegetables, and I see a for sale sign, because I've trained my eyes to see that, and you're going to hear that in a second. I see a for sale sign. I'm like, oh, my goodness, there's a for sale sign. Well, that's a realtor. That's one of the professional categories I love to go after. I pull over for a second, write the realtor's name and phone number down. Her name is Jan Smith. She's with Coldwell Banker. She's got this address. I put the gas on. I pull the phone out of my pocket, and I pick up the phone, and it goes like this. Hi, is Jan in? Yeah, this is Jan. Hey, Jan, Todd Falcone. How you doing? Good. What can I do for you? Hey, Jan, I was just driving by your listing here in Beaver Lake Estates. She's like, great. Are you interested in the home? I'm like, well, Jan, it's a beautiful home. I actually live in the neighborhood. And listen, let me tell you why I'm calling. I know you're very actively involved in the real estate community here on the Sammamish Plateau. I'm an entrepreneur. I love working with sharp people. I'm in the process of expanding my company here. And I have a very simple question for you, Jan, and that is, do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional? That's the peak interest question. I got to the grocery store, and I grabbed my grocery cart, true story, grabbed my grocery cart, start throwing the groceries in there. After I get back from one of my seminars, I was at a national conference for 4 or 5 days. My refrigerator was empty. I need some produce, so I'm doing an errand running session when most people aren't even thinking about prospecting. And I get into the grocery store, I'm throwing stuff in there, and all of a sudden I see a guy on my grocery cart. It's an advertisement for State Farm Insurance. His name is Greg. Most people just throw their stuff in there, and they look at it, but they're blind. They don't even see it. I'm like, Greg. I pull my phone out of my pocket, and I call the guy. Is Greg in? Yeah, this is Greg. Hey, Greg, Todd Falcone, how you doing? Good. What can I do for you? Greg, I'm looking at your smiling face between my tomatoes and my eggs. And he started laughing, as did I, because it was funny. And he said, well, obviously you must be seeing my advertisement on the grocery cart at QFC. I said, I do. I said, if you're running that ad, you're obviously looking to grow your State Farm business. I am. I said, listen, I'm an entrepreneur. I love working with super sharp people. I'm in the process of expanding my company here. I got a very simple, straight-up question for you, and that is, do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing for State Farm? And he said, as a matter of fact, I do. I said, cool. I said, I see your office is right around the corner from my house. I ended up meeting with him the following Tuesday morning, and I signed the guy up on the spot, first meeting. if you don't ask the question and you don't ask it right to the right people, you don't get no answer.